Welcome to Vedic Wisdom Insights.
Glory to my Guru Swami Mukundananda for showering his blessings on me and everybody. Welcome to our ongoing Ishopanishad series. In today's episode, we will discuss verse 17. First, we will chant the mantra followed by translation, and then we will discuss what the mantra is giving us the message that we can implement in our life to remove our ignorance. So the verse says, Vayur Anilam Amratam Atedam Bhasmantam Sariram Om Krato Smara Kratam Smara Krato Smara Kritam Smara. Translation: Let this temporary body be burnt to ashes, and let the air of life be merged with the totality of air. Now, O my Lord, please remember all my sacrifices, and because you are the ultimate beneficiary, please remember all that I have done for you. The temporary material body is certainly a foreign dress. The Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, 20th verse, clearly says that after the destruction of material body, the living entity does not lose its identity. No living entity is originally formless, as is wrongly thought by those with a poor fund of knowledge. This mantra verifies the fact that the living entity exists after the annihilation of the material body. In the material world, material nature displays wonderful workmanship by creating varieties of bodies for the living beings according to their propensities for sense gratification. The living entity who wants to taste stool is given a material body that is quite suitable for eating stool, that of a hog. Similarly, one who wants to eat the flesh and blood of other animals may be given a tiger's body equipped with suitable teeth and claws. But the human being is not meant for eating flesh, nor does he have any desire to taste stool, even in the most aboriginal state. In the cycle of evolution, the living entity changes bodies one after another. When the world was full of water, the living entity took an aquatic form. Then it passed to vegetable life, from vegetable life to worm life, then to bird life, then to animal life, and then to the human form. The highest developed form is this human form, when it is possessed of a full sense of spiritual knowledge. The highest development of one's spiritual sense is described in this mantra. One should give up the material body, which will be turned into ashes, and allow the air of life to merge into the eternal reservoir of air. Here in the material world, material nature forces the living entity to change his body due to his different desires for sense gratification. The intelligent man sees oneness not in the variety of the bodies but in the spiritual identity. The spiritual spark, which is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, is the same whether he is in the body of hog or in the body of a demigod. The living entity takes on different bodies according to his pious and vicious activities. The human body is highly developed and has full consciousness. According to the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, 19th verse, the most perfect man surrenders unto the Lord after many lifetimes of culturing knowledge. The culture of knowledge reaches perfection only when the knower comes to the point of surrendering unto the Supreme Lord Vasudev. Otherwise, even after attaining knowledge of one's spiritual identity, if one does not come to the point of knowing that the living entities are eternal parts and parcels of the whole and can never become the whole, one has to fall down again into the material atmosphere. Indeed, one must fall down even if he has become one with the Brahma Jyotir. In this mantra, the living entity prays to enter the spiritual kingdom of God after relinquishing his material body and material air. The devotee prays to the Lord to remember his activities and the sacrifices he has performed before his material body is turned into ashes. He makes this prayer at the time of death, with full consciousness of his past deeds and of the ultimate goal. One who is completely under the rule of material nature. Remember the heinous activities he performed during the existence of his material body and consequently gets another material body after death. The Bhagavad Gita here confirms this truth in the chapter 8 of 6th verse. Whatever one remembers upon giving up the body at the time of death, O son of Kunti, one attains the state, being always absorbed in such contemplation. Unlike the simple animals who have no developed mind, the dying human being can remember the activities of his life like dreams at night. Therefore, his mind remains surcharged with material desires, and consequently, he cannot enter into the spiritual kingdom with a spiritual body. The devotees, however, develop a sense of love for Godhead by practicing devotional service to the Lord. Even if at the time of death a devotee does not remember his service to the Lord does not forget him. This prayer is given to remind the Lord of the devotee's sacrifices. But even if there is no such reminder, the Lord does not forget the service rendered by his pure devotee. All the facilities suggested in this mantra can be easily obtained by constant contact with the personal feature of the Absolute Truth. Devotional service to the Lord consists essentially of 9 transcendental activities: hearing about the Lord, glorifying the Lord, remembering the Lord, serving at the lotus feet of the Lord, worshipping the Lord, offering prayers to the Lord, serving the Lord, enjoying friendly association with the Lord, and surrendering everything unto the Lord. These 9 principles of devotional service, taken all together or one by one, help a devotee remain constantly in touch with God. In this way, at the end of life, it is easy for the devotee to remember the Lord. By adopting only one of these 9 principles, the renowned devotees of the Lord were able to achieve the highest perfection. By hearing of the Lord, Maharaj Parikshit, the listener of Srimad Bhagavatam, attained the desired result. Just by glorifying the Lord, Shukdev Goswami, the speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam, attained his perfection. By remembering the Lord Narayan, Prahlad Maharaj attained the desired result. By serving the lotus feet of the Lord Vishnu, the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, attained perfection. By worshipping the Lord, Prithu Maharaj attained perfection. By praying to the Lord, Akrur attained the desired result. By rendering personal service to the Sri Ram, Lord Hanuman attained the desired result. Through his friendship with Sri Krishna, Arjun attained the desired result. And finally, by surrendering everything he had to the Vaman Bhagwan, Maharaj Bali attained the desired result. Actually, the explanation of this mantra and of practically all the mantras of the Vedic hymns is summarized in the Vedanta Sutra and properly explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. In Srimad Bhagavatam, this particular mantra is explained in the questions and answers between Maharaj Parikshit and Shukdev Goswami at the very beginning of their meeting, where Maharaj Parikshit's question was, what is the duty of every man, especially at the time of death? Here, Shukdev Goswami says, everyone who desires to be free from all anxieties should always hear about, glorify and remember the personality of Godhead, who is the supreme director of everything, the extinguisher of all difficulties, and the super soul of all living entities. However, the so-called human society is generally engaged at night in sleeping and having sex, and during the daytime in earning as much money as possible, or else in shopping for family maintenance. People have very little time to talk about the personality of Godhead or to inquire about Him. They have dismissed God's existence in so many ways, primarily by declaring Him to be impersonal, that is, without sense perception. One should therefore not indulge in hearing and speaking of the rubbish activities of worldly politicians and so-called big men in society, but should mold his life in such a way that he can engage in godly activities without wasting a second. Sri Ishopanishad is directing us towards such godly activities. Unless one is accustomed to devotional practice, what will he remember at the time of death when the body is dislocated? And how can he pray to the Almighty Lord to remember his sacrifices? Sacrifice means denying the interest of senses. It also means not to listen to the mind for sense gratification. One has to learn this art by employing the senses in service of the Lord during one's lifetime. And one can utilize the results of such practice at the time of death. Hare Krishna and Jai Shri Ram.